Why?
This is an idea that you're presenting, and I'm sure you have something behind it, and I think I don't understand it.
Yeah, there are certain forces aligned to this planet that are not going to be here again. If you really want to know, it has to do with this planet's relationship within the galaxy and certain forces that are not visible to this world, which we are passing through. And those forces have the potential to speed up the evolution of this world. And it can happen now, in this time, and if it isn't, then that opportunity will be lost.
This sounds a bit like astrology.
No, it isn't astrology. It actually...
I'm not trying to doubt your...
No, I don't mind if you doubt or not. I was trying to explain it in a way that one of the difficulties of being a mystic is you see things and you see them on a different plane of reality.
My car mechanic says the same thing when I ask him about the carburetor.
Yeah, great.
However, I think at that point he's simply mystifying the experience. So, and I don't think you're trying to do that.
You trust your car to the car mechanic, presumably.
Yes.
And one's, if you like, job as a mystic or visionary, if you are in any way, like I have reluctantly been pushed into the public arena, is to share what I have been shown. And that is, as I say, this is a particular moment in cosmic time. There is a whole other tradition, I'm not quite sure whether it's a Hindu tradition or whatever, that says there are a whole different set of eras that are coming together at this moment in cosmic time.
Yes, there have been many traditions that have said this, including apocalypses.
Yeah.
However, my experience of my own contact with awareness, I'm speaking from my own direct experience, and I claim nothing special, is that this awareness is homogeneous and continuous and not broken by notions of time.
Yeah, that is also true. That is also true. On one level, that is also true. And this is because time doesn't really exist.
Yes.
And time is an illusion.
So what would be special about this time then?
Yeah.
It seems rather unspecial the way you've just described it.
Yeah, if you look at it from that place. Again, the difficulty is if you're given an experience or something, and it is either just a completely subjective experience which belongs to something you were shown. Mm-hmm. And for a long time I mulled on that. Is this just am I just being, for example, you can get shown the plane of the self. Yeah. It's a very, very beautiful experience. And on that plane, for example, there is limitless love. And there is harmony. Everything is in harmony on the plane of the self. It can't not be in harmony. And so for a while I wondered, was this what I was being shown? Just an experience of the self? And I was told no. And again, what was even worse, I was told to write about it. Mm-hmm. And then I was told to talk about it in public, which was rather a shock. So all I can say is that this is the experience I have been given, and I've been asked to share it. If it touches, my feeling is that if it touches something inside of you, as it resonates with something in you that is not the ego, that is, if you like, a knowing, because one thing I have sensed, and I'm very interested in this, is that there are certain souls who have incarnated, particularly into the West at this time, are here to help the world go through this transition.
But Llewellyn, I'm sorry, I have to question this. What would make this time more special than any other time in history?
I know, it's completely puzzling.
I want to ask him.
I agree, it is completely puzzling. Why? Well, what is... The only thing I go back to is that there is this extraordinary moment in the life cycle, or in the incarnation of the human being, when something is awakened. They say the Sufis call it tauba, in which suddenly you awaken. It is a moment. T.S. Eliot called it a moment in and out of time.
Yes.
It is that timeless moment, but it also exists within a certain time. And why it happens at a particular time in your life, I don't know.
Yes.
It is a mystery. You could say because you passed a stranger in the street, like Rumi when he met Shams. This crazy dervish who came and turned the life of this theology professor upside down and made him lost in love. To such a degree that his sons wanted to try and kill him because they missed their father. Why did this happen to Rumi at that moment? Why out of that moment was born the Mevlevi order and this extraordinary effusion of the most beautiful love poetry that's ever existed that came after Shams died? I don't know.
Yes.
Did it happen? We believe it happens. And I know when it happened to me, I was in a subway in London, going back from a weekend home from boarding school, and some guy, some American guy even, put in my hands this Zen manual, this Zen book, and there was this phrase, "The wild geese do not intend to cast their reflection."
Beautiful.
And that moment in that subway in London changed my life.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. What I'm questioning here, and please understand, I really want to know.
No, I understand.
This is genuine. It's not.
Because it makes no
I'm not
sense
trying
whatsoever.
to debate. Actually, it's fine with me that it makes no sense whatsoever. What's difficult for me is when we select out a certain set of causes and conditions. For example, you're saying there are beings being born now, and we use that to substantiate, if you will, a subjective experience. I believe your experience was not simply subjective, actually. I believe your experience was, the way you described it, is not simply subjective.
You. I mean,
However, I'm wondering about why we would select bits and pieces of information why we would even need to substantiate this. I think this awakening, this possibility for awakening has always been here, it seems. But this is just an idea I have. And I'm wondering if that idea is any different than yours.
It is always present, but it is not fully lived.
Yes.
Just as your own realization is always present inside of you, but you can wait lifetimes.
Right.
But
there are causes and conditions. For example, and I'll end now, but for example, when someone's dying, we might suggest saying.
Yes, there is a moment of grace before they die.
That's right. There are causes and conditions which are conducive to that.
Yeah.
One of those is what you mentioned earlier, a kind of despair even.
Yeah.
A stripping away of a sense of self. Mm-hmm. All of these conditions lead to particular things. My sense is that you have some direct experience, I'll say, that's leading you to this conclusion. And I want to, maybe I want to hear it, but I don't want to hear it as, we're moving through, galaxies. This may be my own obscuration. However, you may have something else in this that...
I do.
Otherwise, would I be such a stupid idiot to stand in front, or sit, very nice chair, in front of 250 people talking about something so absurd?
Yeah.
As the heart
it just
of the
seems
world
like
starting to sing?
These causes and conditions would be very, very important, and would be really important for us to know.
You wouldn't understand them, because they don't belong to the world of cause and effect, and we are completely identified with cause and effect. Just as you see, when you awaken, when you have that moment, you can say it was a moment of despair, you can say this and this and this. The Sufis say differently. They say there is this moment of grace when the beloved looks into the heart of his servant and turns it with love. And why that moment of grace? Why that person, when sitting next to him is a really good religious guy who's done his homework and doesn't get it? Why? Yes, there are reasons. And there is a plane of reality, because I happen to work with souls, because I was given that job in this life to work with souls, and you can go and read it. And it's written down quite carefully. What are the conditions? Why at that moment? Because I have people who come to me, and they have all the right criteria, but something is lacking. And I say, no, come back in 10 years' time, maybe. And there's somebody else who looks the most hopeless case you've ever seen, who has no spiritual criteria whatsoever. And I look somewhere, and there's a tick in the box. And I say, fine, sit here.
We'll have to get those applications.
Yeah, you do.
Thank you for taking the time to explore this.
And you said that we human beings have this light that we can draw on.